Okay, welcome back. Today we're going to talk about title blocks and blueprints and drawings and what they're for. So it's basically a template for a sheet and generally includes a border for the page and information about the design firm, such as its name, address, and a logo perhaps. The title block can also display information about the project, the client, and the individual sheets, including issue dates and revision information. So companies, organizations all use different title blocks. You could change companies and find every company has a title block a little bit different from the other one. Different sizes and different required information in a title block. Things to keep in mind when producing a title block. Remember, all the printing must be in capital letters. There are multiple blocks or windows that must be filled in with the proper information. It has to be neat. So let's look at the title block used by Sheridan College Plumbing Department. Okay, so here we have a title block and a border on a sheet of paper. For the most part, you would start with a 1/2 inch border. So the 1/2 inch border is from the edge of the paper into the border. All the way around is a 1/2 inch. Has to be neat, uniform, and these are showing a thick line as a representation of the border. But these are really just going to be a straight single pencil line. Nice and neat. Also, where you see here in the corners where things have crossed over, these are expected to be erased. So you just have a perfect turn, a perfect 90 degrees turn here on all the corners. So you wouldn't have this overlapping. So originally you could do it nice and light, then erase the corners and go over it maybe a little bit darker, but these don't have to be overly too dark. You'll see the height of the actual title block at the bottom here is 1 inch. The entire length of the title block, or the width of the title block I should say, is 9.5 inches long. So depending on the size of the paper, you may find that there's a gap here between this border wall, right? Because perhaps the paper is 11 inches long and we know our title block's 9.5 inches. So you would just have an open piece of paper here, like this would still carry on, and then the line would go up the side. So the title block doesn't always go to the end. All right, it's always 9.5 inches from the bottom right side out to here. These two boxes are 2.5 inches wide and 1 inch high. The next section is 4.5 inches wide, 1 inch high, and its verticals drawn at 1.5 inches. And then finally what you would do is separate the box with a line drawn horizontally through the boxes, giving you 6 windows of information. So if I'm doing this, I would just simply measure off the corner 9.5 inches, 1 inch down, and you already have this bottom border because you've already made the border, right? So you have this bottom line already done. So you're just really measuring up 1 inch across 9.5 inches, and you're going to come down for the border. Now on this particular one, it fits perfect, the 9.5 inches. So like I said, each one of these is 2.5 inches wide. So you can start here, you can measure 2.5 inches, make a mark, measure 2.5 inches, make another line. These all have to be perfectly straight with the ruler. They have to be neat. Then you would just start to build these final 6 boxes down here. Each one is 1.5 inches. And then you could just mark it, draw down a line, measure 1.5 inches, mark it with your pencil, draw down a line, and you're almost there. Then halfway down, we know this is 1 inch high, so 1/2 inch, you can mark it and run a line straight across the edge of the border here. Okay. Now everything here has to be put into the title block that you see. You must write these in each location. Now, one thing for sure is everything should be capital letters. And Sheridan here is just stamped from the school, like an ink stamp. but this should all be capitals. So when you do it for myself for marking, this all has to be capitals. You'll notice the information that is required in this particular title block. It's different with different schools, and it's different with different companies, organizations, etc. But this one, you have to write in title, you have to put scale, you have to put the date, drawn by, which would be your name underneath that, checked by, so you could put my name underneath there, the job number, and the drawing number. Now these are given to you. The job number and the drawing number are given to you. So it's information that I would give you or your employer would give you, and you would put in the appropriate window. So when making the title block, you must write these titles in each block and then fill them in. So that means that once you've constructed this title block, you must write Sheridan. You have to make it as center as you can and as neat as you can. I don't want to see Sheridan up here and everything open. It's got to be big letters right across. As neat as you can do it. You have to write the word title, and then you'd put the title of the drawing, which I would give you. You have to write scale, and then you would write in the scale. 1/4 inch equals 1 foot 0 inches. And you have to put all your dashes in there and measurement signatures. You'd put in the date. You write the date any way you want to write the date. Drawn by would be your name. Checked by would be my first name is good enough, Ken. Job number I would give to you, and you would simply put here job 1, job 2, job 3, whatever it may be. And drawing number would go in here also. So let's take a look at an example on the next slide. So here I've taken the title block, I've blown it up. So this is obviously isn't to scale. Okay, so let's take a look at what we'd have to do here. When constructing a title block, you must write all the categories, which I just finished telling you on the previous slide. Sheridan, title, scale, date must all be written. You must fill it in. So let's say that this is going to be drawing number 1. So that'll be our title. So you would write it here in pencil, just like the rest of the title is in pencil, scale, date, drawn by, everything is pencil. The scale would be 1/4 inch equals 1 foot 0 inches, and that's how you would write it, and that's where you would put it. So you simply continue on with the required information and enter it where you have to put it. And I would give you the majority of that information. Title blocks, all these drawings have to be neat. No smudges, no spelling errors, for instance. It has to be clean, and it has to be I can't stress enough how neat these have to be. Okay, it must be legible. You can use short forms, as you see down here in the corner. Drawing, I don't mind something like that, is okay. But overall, you have plenty of room to put the necessary titles. And again, capital letters only everywhere. Everywhere in this course, capital letters only. So here we have an isometric shape inside a 1/2 inch border with a Sheridan College title block. And this is what a finished drawing would look like. So you can see you have your piece of paper out here. This is done with a 1/2 inch border. Excuse me, with a 1/2 inch border. The drawing is here, which you guys have seen. This was on your homework after test number 1. So the drawing would be in the middle of the piece of paper, and you have your title block down here, and the only thing missing is the information that would have to be filled in. Understand it, and you get an idea how it's done. It's really not that difficult. It's using the measurements, and hopefully You guys will have a scale ruler that you can use to measure off the 1.5 inches, the 2.5 inches, the 1 inch height, the overall width of 9.5 inches. So once you get that down pat, we're going to start doing some drawings where you make a border and a title block, and then you put the drawing in the middle of it for me. Okay, thanks a lot. Bye for now.